No Doubt is back.
No Doubt, ladies and gentlemen.
And E's got the exclusive premiere of their new music video, Settle Down. Plus my candid conversation with the band as they talk fame.
We never planned on success. The goal was, I'm gonna ask my dad for $5 so I can rent a mic, and we're gonna like jam and have fun.
Friendship.
We've grown up together. We were in the garage together for years. These are kind of my best friends, really.
Kinda? That's weird.
And of course, the music.
When you get into the rehearsal, the first time that we play every one of those songs could be the most horrible sound that you've ever heard.
I can make a fart sound better than that.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
And then when you do it live, that's where it all seems real.
It just sounds like No Doubt, like it just ends up being us.
This is an Etertainment special, No Doubt, Settle Down.
Hello, I'm Ryan Seacrest here with legendary band No Doubt. We're about to world premiere their brand new music video, Settle Down. But first things first, it's been a decade since you recorded an album together in the studio. So individually and as a band, how have you guys been? All of you.
We're great. We like each other still. It's weird.
We do.
We're good. We hang out all the time. We've been together all this time. It hasn't been a real break for us. I mean, if we do anything outside the band's there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like it's a separate these are our friends. We are all friends.
What do you do when you're together? You hang out with your families?
Well, a lot of children have been born in the last decade. There are 9 kids between the band, and the oldest is 10. So there's been a lot of time, hanging out with the kids together and doing family stuff and theme parks and yeah.
Who will end up with the most kids?
Ooh.
Who's winning now?
Tom's winning.
I got 3.
I think he's going to have another one.
3 more. I got time.
Adrian, what's the transition like going from sort of being relatively out of the spotlight as a band to now being back in the spotlight?
I notice it more through my kids' eyes because I have the oldest child, and so, as the attention comes back to No Doubt and less on being a suburban father, that's when I realize, oh wow, yeah, that's right, I'm in this pretty huge band.
When you're a suburban father, are you wearing that?
Some days.
Is that carpool?
Not on back to school night. There's a lot of hats in my closet for that, but yeah, it's an extreme, and sometimes it's a totally different world.
Does that affect the way that the band works?
Absolutely.
Totally, especially for me, I think, because I would be mom like all morning, all day, and do all my other stuff, and then show up at the studio at Tony's at like 4 in the afternoon and try to like write something, and nothing happens before it gets dark, and then stay up all night and then do it all over again. We would only get together like 3 times a week because I have to take care of the kids too, so there's only so much time we could put into it, and it was really like drawn out.
In the past, we maybe had the luxury of more time together. So you write 30 songs and you pick the best 12. This time, it's like, we've got to do this. We've got to get this song done. So we would focus on a song sometimes for weeks and get like the chorus up to the months. I don't know. I was trying to be nice and try to get like this verse as good as the chorus. You know what I mean? And so it was a different process as far as songwriting goes.
Tony, what was the real moment, the impetus to saying, all right, we're going to go do this again?
One thing is, even though 10 years passed by, we were still seeing each other all the time, like with, kids' birthday parties and hanging out together. And so it never felt like we were that far apart. Mm-hmm. And
we always planned to do it. We were never going to...
That's the other thing, too.
It was never going to not happen. It always was going to happen.
Right.
So.
And then in 2007, Gwen was on tour, and we got on stage and played some songs together. And the reaction was so incredible, and we're like, okay, here we go. This is the start of the new cycle.
So it was the fans then. It was the reaction. It was the energy from them.
I think that, like I said, like there was a lot that happened. We said, okay, we're going to take a break after Rocksteady. We'd never in our whole, since we were 17, ever take any time off. So then I was like, ooh, I'm gonna make a dance record. It was one of those things, it was so inspired, it was this domino effect. It just kept going and going, and I was so into it, and I decided to go on tour. Then I got pregnant with Kingston, like in rehearsal. So I went on tour till I was...
That's when it happened?
Yeah,
in rehearsal?
and I literally had to be on stage till I was like 4.5 months pregnant. I really felt like I had nothing left to give. Like there was so much creation that had happened in the last like couple of years that I was like, I can't write, and I really tried, and so I said, let me just have the baby. And so I had the baby. I said, we started writing again, nothing. So I said, let's just go on tour and have fun and get inspired. And going on tour, that tour was just like the most incredible No Doubt tour we ever did.
It was just like, it was a spark that it was so incredible to be on stage together with your family. To get up there again just got us reinvigorated.
We didn't have a single out. We were playing for like, I don't know, 17,000 people a night. It was insane. We had all our babies. I had a new baby. I had 2. It was really hard, but it was really fun. And then we got home from that and we wrote our first song. And then we just wrote for a year, and now here we are.
So much was happening personally, but was it frustrating professionally because there was so much other focus and so many other things to suck up that creativity or that energy?
For me, it was frustrating because I wanted to do it so bad, and I felt like I was so torn with being a new mom and a wife and all these things that I had to do. Yeah, and it was like, how am I gonna get this out of me? Like, what am I gonna write about? And it was like, but these guys were amazing because it was so great to be able to be so comfortable, and they're so understanding, and they were like, no, it's gonna work, it's gonna happen, and you're gonna get it. And even nights when I feel like I failed because I would leave the kids to go work, and so I'm missing that, and then I'd go to be with you guys and nothing was happening, and I'm not writing anything good, and then I lose this whole time, and everyone loses, and I'm like, So there was a lot of pressure in that way.
There was, but we found out like, that night you felt like you didn't get anything done. You listen back to it a couple days later and you're like, oh my God, this is a great idea. This is the start of a great song. But the thing about songwriting, and especially between us, is that it just has to be right. We can't rush it. It's a process for us, and that's, and we know when it's right. And we had to get to that point. In November of 2009 is when we wrote our first song. We're like, okay, this is gonna work. This is gonna be okay.
Well, Tom, talk about the first time you guys were back in the studio together. What was that like?
Well, there were stages. We got into the studio and started piecing together the songs. And it really, the demos of the early songs were pretty skeletal and simple. And so we had to figure out how these songs were going to work as a band.
It's very like freestyle. It's like, okay, let's try this keyboard idea. And, we don't really play keyboards that well, but we're like, okay, let's try this. And we just do our thing, and you pick what sounds great. And when you get into the rehearsal, you're like, okay, now let's make this sound great live as a band. And the first time that we play every one of those songs could be the most horrible sound that you've ever heard. To have
fart sound better than that.
It's pretty bad, yeah. It's amazing. But
why is that?
Because you're just trying to feel out your parts. Like, am I going to play bass or am I going to jump to the keyboard bass here? And it's such a different thing of playing it in the studio versus playing it for live, for a live performance.
One of the things I love about working with these guys, everyone has this really high bar for quality. It's quality control. If this song's not great, if this chorus isn't great, let's throw it out and rewrite it. Let's make this better and not let anything through that's mediocre.
You guys obviously have been living with the songs for a long time. Do you set expectations?
Honestly, it's like we're doing it for ourselves. It's very selfish, we just do it because we love the process of making it, and then as far as sharing the music, I feel super excited about that. And I just think it's such a gift, to be able to have music that you made and then have people like it and share it. And then when you do it live and you actually see the people that supported you and gave you the life that you have, that is just like, that's where it all seems real.
How would you describe the point of view of Push and Shove then?
The record is really upbeat. All our records are kind of like this fruit salad of sound, like tons of different, it all mixes in there, and it has that kind of 80s feel, but it also has a bit of the ska thing that we, the DNA of who we are, and so, and it also feels, I think, very now, so it's really exciting now. It's getting so close to sharing it, and I know how many times I've listened to this record in my car, like driving and loving it, so I think those people that are waiting they're in for some special ear candy.
Well, stick around. When we come back, we will world premiere the new music video from No Doubt, Settle Down, coming up.